Okay, so get this right. Some fans are connecting Willy Wonka and George Weasley.
Willy Wonka from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, yeah. They're saying, what if, after all the stuff with Voldemort and losing Fred and all that, George just needed a change, like a total fresh start?
Huh. That's interesting. So he ditches the wizarding world and what? Whips up a chocolate factory?
That's a theory, yeah. It's all over the internet, like forums and articles, you name it.
I gotta admit, I haven't really seen that one floating around. But hey, sounds like a fun deep dive. Let's see what we got.
All right, so the theory basically goes that George, obviously heartbroken, but still that same George, decides to try something new, something huge, and boom, he becomes Willy Wonka.
I mean, if you think about it, there are some similarities. Both are kind of mischievous, right? They love their pranks and jokes.
Totally, and they're both super creative. I mean, Wonka with his crazy inventions and George with all those Weasley, Wizard of Wheezes products.
Yeah, that's true. But Wonka, he's also got that kind of dark side, A little bit cruel sometimes. Not sure that really fits with George.
Yeah, good point. Like, Wonka could be pretty harsh with those kids in the factory. George always struck me as more, well, warm.
Exactly. I guess that's why some people find the theory so appealing. It kind of gives George this more complex personality, like maybe he's got this whole other side to him that we didn't see in the books.
Plus, let's be real, fans love a good redemption arc. After everything in the war, everyone wants to believe that George found a way to be happy again.
Right. It's like this theory lets us imagine that even after losing Fred, George found a way to, I don't know, channel his grief into something positive.
And there's definitely that melancholy vibe around Wonka, right? Like you always get the sense there's a sadness lurking beneath the surface.
Oh, for sure. And there's that one line in the book where Wonka says, I'm a little deaf in one ear. Could that be, a nod to George's injury from the war?
Whoa, that's actually pretty mind-blowing. Hadn't thought of it that way before.
It's just a theory, of course, but it's a detail that really makes you wonder.
Okay, but let's get down to brass tacks here. Could the chocolate factory itself be magical?
Well, think about some of Wonka's inventions. Everlasting gobstoppers, three-course meal gum. That stuff's got to be at least a little bit magical, right?
I mean, it's pushing the limits of science, that's for sure. But could George be secretly using magic to make it all work?
And if so, to what extent? Is it subtle, or is it like the driving force behind the entire factory?
Whoa, imagine that, like the chocolate river is actually a magical stream or something.
Right. And maybe the Oompa Loompas are actually, I don't know, some kind of magical creature that only George knows how to communicate with.
Okay, so obviously J.K. Rowling hasn't confirmed any of this. And yeah, the timelines might not line up perfectly, but even if it's not true, why do you think this theory resonates with so many people?
I think it speaks to that universal desire for happy endings. We want to see the characters we love find peace and joy, even after experiencing something as horrible as war.
And it's fun, right? It lets us connect these two amazing worlds in a way we never thought of before.
Exactly. It's like we're seeing both Harry Potter and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory through a whole new lens.
It really makes you think about how we find joy after loss, Could it be through creation, like maybe George did with the factory?
That's a great question to ponder. I mean, is creating something amazing and sharing it with the world a way to heal and move forward?
So here's where things get really fun.
Yeah.
If we just go with it, if we say George did become Wonka, what kind of magical candy would he come up with?
Oh, man. The possibilities are endless. Candies that change flavors every time you eat them, sweets that make you float, chocolate that lets you talk to animals.
And what would Fred think of it all? Do you think he'd be proud of George for finding this new way to bring joy to the world?
Imagine, like, a special Wonka candy that makes you laugh uncontrollably. That's totally something Fred would approve of.
It just goes to show, even in fictional worlds, there's always room for our imaginations to run wild.
And who knows? Maybe somewhere out there in some other universe, George Weasley really is Willy Wonka.
And that's the magic of fandom, right? We get to keep these stories alive and create new possibilities.
Exactly. So what kind of magical candy would you create if you were a Wizarding World chocolatier? Something to think about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time for